Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change, he stays the same. Won't find a better reason, no. So come tap in, just listen. And bring a friend, let's spread this vision. Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change, he stays the same. Won't find a better reason, no. So come tap in, just listen. And bring a friend, let's spread this vision.
And shalom aleichem, Shabbat shalom to each and every one of you who are with us on today. We're so glad to have you, to be in your presence. This is the day. This is the day. This is the day. Yahweh, who is our Elohim, he has made. It is my will, I pray it's your will, to rejoice and literally be glad in that ideal and concept. Well, I want you to realize and understand that there are so many different things that Yahweh wants for us to know and to do. And as I sit and just relax today, I mean, just all day thinking about life. It's sort of kind of weird for me because, you know, today is the day that you contemplate life and you start looking at your life. And as the song says, when I look back over my life and I start to think things over, the songwriter said, and we fell in love with, I can truly say that I've been blessed and I have a testimony. Well, I've just been really quiet. I love just sometimes being alone. And as much as I'm always in the public's eye and the public's face and what have you, I really get a great joy out of just being alone. Because all day, every day, I'm talking with someone, I'm meeting with someone. And though I'm considered a social butterfly and a social light, it's weird. I just like to sit on my couch and do nothing and think. And today with that, just evaluating life and thinking over the different stages of life that one enters into, it's just, I'm in a very quiet space, and it's great because I was thanking Yahweh for my children. I don't know when you became the old man, but I'm just sitting thinking about my son, my youngest son. And my daughter, her choice of a great husband, and my oldest son and his choice of a beautiful wife, and the children that come from that. And then as you get a year older, that recent revolution around, and then the revolution that's coming to go back around, you start thinking. Introspection and Shabbat should always be a huge, huge thing. And I don't mean thinking your own words and speaking your own, finding your own. I mean, really just thinking about the things that Yahweh has done in your life and how he did it. And especially if you're one who keeps and loves his word, you really start to thinking. And for me, a quiet place is everything. And Sabbath is lifestyle for me. I want to disconnect from the whole world. You guys are on because I was like, in my time of contemplation, introspection, thinking on life. And I think deep, and if you don't know me, you won't really catch initially my thought process until much time later. But in thinking deep, introspection, realizing where you've been, what you're doing, how you do it, you simply consider. There's a song. Y'all mind if I sing it? It's a song that they sing. Can I sing it? They did this new version. It's cute. They little jazz to it, and somebody running their Kim Burrell riffs to it, and they, whatever. It's cute. Can I sing the one that I know? I need your permission. Y'all not gonna talk to me?
Yes, sir. You can say
Thank you, Shirley.
Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Veronica.
Yeah.
I need to know. My moderators, y'all don't even where my mods at? Y'all used to like when I sang it a little bit on Sabbath, but we're gonna do it in and who.
Right here.
Th-
Go
th-
ahead.
This one's old school, and this is what it was about. I want to make sure you get it. It says, "Look what God has done. Wonderful is He." It goes. Look what Yah has done. Omnipotent is He. See, when you get introspective, you think, He put the moon and stars into space. He created the whole human race. Look what Yah has done. Wonderful is He. Yeah. That's that one that makes you think. Just Sabbath helps you to stop and look at what Yahweh has done. And I was just sitting here just contemplating that. Does that make sense? Do y'all understand that? Could y'all feel that? If y'all didn't feel that, it doesn't make any sense. But it's just an understanding of looking what Yahweh has done. Where He bring you from? What did He bring you through? Watch this. In spite of you screwing it up, messing it up, always putting yourself in jeopardy and having Him bail you out because of His Shekinah glory. All of those things, they make you consider just how great He is. But I actually sang the wrong song. Would y'all mind if I sang the right song? That one just came out, so somebody needed that one. But can I give y'all the song that I was really thinking about that they just did a redo on? And it's cute. Got some little, pyrotechnic video behind it, and it's going viral. It's cute, but I'm reminded of the original of it, and it was really, really a great song. Can y'all mind if I sing that one just for a second? It's the Sabbath. We ain't got nothing to do.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Are y'all just doing it because y'all trying to be nice, or do y'all really want to? Y'all want to feel it? Because this is how it hit me.
I want to feel it.
Was the look what God has done? Did the look what God has done? Was that cool with y'all? Did y'all like the look what God has done? That's old school. If y'all not old school, you remember that one. But that was pretty fire. Here's the one that y'all redid just recently this year. It's cute, the whole riffing and jazzy, but here's the original of it. And this was one of my mother and my apostles' favorites, and we had to sing it on a regular. So, you ready? God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all pain, misery, and strife. He's promised to keep me, never to leave me, never ever come short of pray, stay in the narrow way and keep my life clean every day. I want to go with him when he comes back. I've come too far and I'll never turn back. God is, Yah is, Yah is, Yah is, Yah is my all and all. And when you start contemplating and really he goes, Yah is the joy and the strength of my life. Y'all remember that? He moves all pain, misery, and strife. He's promised to keep me, never to leave me, never ever fall short of his word. I have to fast and pray, stay in Yah's narrow way, and keep my life clean every day. And I've come too far and I'll never turn back. Yah is. I could go on and on, but then it turns into a concert and then we'll start singing other songs and medleys coming together. But is Yah? Yah is my all and all. Sitting back here in a quiet space, in a quiet time, just thinking alone on his greatness. And you can say, Yahweh alone be praised. I had the joy of a very unique time collapsing in the same space, all several lives that I'm directly connected to, sort of kind of merging all at the same time point and watching these rays of life. Shabbat helps you to bring things into focus, and it helps you to realize that Yah is the joy. Yah is the strength of my life. Sabbath keeping is a lifestyle. It's not a church event. It's not a church commandment. It's not a church event. Sabbath is a lifestyle, and the lifestyle is what you comply with, and you can't play with it and then say you're still in the life. You got to be about it. It's like playing with breathing and then expecting to live. It's like I'll breathe when I want to breathe. It's like walking sleep apnea. You know, when if you've ever seen someone with sleep apnea, they stop breathing in the middle of the night, and they stop breathing for like seconds, like massive seconds at a time, and you know they don't swim, so you're waiting for them to breathe. You know, and then their whole body shocks back into the necessity of oxygen. Sabbath can't be like that. You can't have kingdom apnea. Make that a quote. That's an original. Make that a quote. I need that. That's an original. Make that a quote. You can't have kingdom apnea. This is something that is done on a regular basis that we have to realize is what it is. And at the end of the day, you can't have kingdom apnea. Like you got sleep apnea because you're interrupting the flow of normalcy that benefits you and edifies you. When you don't get oxygen and you're trying to sleep and your brain is not getting oxygen, your brain can't do what the brain is designed to do by Yahweh while your body is shut down. Because your body sends signals, your body sends a nerve, your brain sends signals through your nerve endings, and they get to your body's got a whole medical crew waiting for you to go to sleep. Woo! Man, that feels good. I'm gonna say it again. Listen, make this a quote. Your body, Elohim's designed body, has a whole medical crew waiting for you to go to sleep. Sabbath is an epitome of that human engineering. Sabbath is the day Yahweh is waiting for you and I to go to sleep from the world. So what made you can quicken you, redo you for your world experience. So when you go to sleep on your 7 hours that you're supposed to get every day, your brain and your body, while your intellect is sleeping, while your desires are resting, while your inspirations that want to take over your life are actually laid and resting, your back of the house, which is most important, your brain starts to bring those things together and tells your body how to fix itself from the damage of your aspirations, from the damage of your experiences, from the damage of you trying to get over hurdles in life and get damaged in relationships, damaged in fellowships, damaged in footprints, footsteps, movements. Your body starts to heal you. And one of the problems where we don't really pay attention to is that when we don't rest rightly, our body can't heal itself. And now we have to go on artificial aid from external physicians who may be well-versed in the anatomy, well-versed in the cardio structure, well-versed in the vascular structure, well-versed in the neurology, but they are not inside. It's just something inside. My mother used to always tell me, she says, son, I know what a man is, but I can't teach you how to be a man. I can only show you what a good man looks like. She did her very best she did a very great job showing me what good men, pointing out in teachable moments, that's what a man does. That's who a man is. That's how a man fathers. That's how a man wifes. That's how a man earns. See that over there? Look at this one. And she would give me this buffet of people to look at that were respectable men. She honored, she respected, and she's like, see what he did, see how he did this, see how he did that. Those two, but she could never, like she does her daughters. She could never take the daughter. She could never take me aside and say, here, daughter, this is the inside of our feministic world. I can show you how to be a female. I can teach you how to be a female. But for the masculine, myself and my dear brother who's now gone on, she couldn't take us into the feminine side and says, here's how you be a man. She could say, here's how you be a human. Here's how you be a good person, because I'm a person. But that masculine part, she had to show us and point us to directions of men who demonstrated certain traits. I'm going somewhere. So when my mother would say, that's what a man does. That's what a man looks like. That's what a good husband. That's what a good father. That's what a good provider. That's what a man of faith looks like. She could only show me to them and hope I would navigate towards that well and drink from it. Choice was mine. But with the daughters, she could pull them in and say, hey, I'm female. You're female. Come here. This is what we do. This is how we do it. She couldn't do that for me as a man. So watch. It's only going to be an external. When you don't get rest, though you know you need rest, though you know some of the traits that should come out of your resting and your functioning in society, until you literally rest for the appropriate amount of time, suggested 5 to 8 hours a day, your body, which knows you better than any psychologist, any psychiatrist, any physician, any MD, whoever you trust in, your coach, all that garbage, your so-called, mentor, all of that. No one knows you better than your body. And if you don't have a meeting with your body, I don't mean a meeting in the ladies' room. I don't mean a meeting with your psychologist. I don't mean a meeting with your psychiatrist. If you don't have a meeting with your body every day for 5 to 8 hours, you will never maximize your potential for living a fulfilling life, a healed life, a stable mental life. So we scale up to this very important day called Shabbat. If you don't have a meeting in the seventh day with the creator of your body, you and I do not stand a chance of being able to live in the kingdom designed way and predestinations of Yahweh. So if you don't have a meeting with the creator knows your body better than your psychiatrist or psychologist or doctor or coach or pastor or mentor. Your body knows you better than any of them. And we don't meet with those two very key entities because the body can tell you which psychiatrist or psychologist you might need, because those elements externally are necessary. They are aid. They are of great benefit, but nothing can they do internally but help you to try and find you. When you go to sleep 5 to 7 to 8 hours, disconnect from the world, get your rest, get your oxygenation, let your back of the house start working on all the things that have frustrated you, brought you into anxiety, brought you into pain, brought you into unforgiveness, brought you into having been whatever. When you go to sleep, your body is designed by Elohim's design to fix you. Sabbath. When you come into that seventh day of Sabbath, when you come into that seventh day of Sabbath, it is designed to reset you. And everybody says, all I need is Jesus. That's cool. That's a good start. But what did Yeshua, what did Jesus do? He rested. He went to sleep from the world every seventh day. Now, I know you hear me say it so often. It has no real, revelatory, excitement to it. But it is the power we overlook. Listen, you'll never read this passage the same way again. We have a form of godliness, but we deny the very power of our God-likeness because we don't sit with our God like he asked. And if we're not sitting with him to be like him, that would be Sabbath keeping. Then how are we going to look like God in the world? Because we're not fasting from the world to get to know his word, so his word can guide us in the world. See, that's the purpose for the Shabbat. It makes you pull away from the world, disconnect from the vacuums that got you organically, the vortexes that sucked you in organically, the relationships that made you think you was all this, all that, and the other based on flatteries and compliments that turned into flatteries that were really setting a net at your feet to trap you and make you do and drag you into being whatever they wanted you to be so they could get from you what they needed and then leave you drained and dry. Woo! Did we say all that in one breath? We sure did, because Shabbat is what gives you restoration. We confuse the word joy with being happy and giddy and glee. And in the words of my dear Pastor Spencer, we've repurposed words over time. But the Hebrew word for joy is best Englishly placed as the word for strength. Even the Tanakh showed us that the joy of Yahweh is our Anybody know? The joy of the Lord, the joy of Yahweh. Can somebody can y'all come off mic and just help me, because this is Sabbath and we're going to pray in a minute, but can y'all help me understand what the joy of Yahweh is? The joy of Yahweh is our 1, 2, 3. Can y'all feel that? Can y'all feel the board with that? Can y'all feel the chat box on Clubhouse with that? Can y'all feel, just put the joy of the Lord is our strength and capitalize strength? Can y'all just, even if you just write the word strength, so we know that this point in a timestamp, when we come back to it and you hear this again, like many of you do, go back and listen to these because there's so much information and you start extracting what you didn't get the first time because you were so busy picking up the last thing while we were giving the other thing. You dropped that and didn't get that. So now you go back. So just feel the timeline right now with strength in the chats on Clubhouse and chats on YouTube and the chats on Facebook. Just fill it with the word strength, all caps. The joy of Yahweh is your strength. So joy equals strength. So when you watch this, when you rejoy, you are re-strengthening. And though you've heard me say it all the time, and again, because of the revelation that went before it, or maybe the one that came right after it, we didn't really pick up when you would hear me stop and say, I will. This is the day. Listen, this is the day Yahweh has made. In this day, when I comply to it, watch the rest of the verb, watch the rest of the verse. I will to be re-strengthened. Let me say it the way you've read it. I will rejoice and be glad. The joy of Yahweh is our strength. So to rejoice would mean to be re-strengthened. So when I come into Sabbath, this is the day, Sabbath, Yahweh, Creator, has made for me. In that day, when I come to Sabbath, all the strength I exhausted, I will be re-strengthened because of how this day was made. Just like you, when you go to bed, when you go to sleep, your brain is like a pit crew at Daytona 500, where I've been and worked many times. When you go there, you see how these pit crews are waiting for that vehicle to pull in from the 500 laps it's doing. It needs to change its tires. It needs to change its fluids. It needs to refuel. It needs to reset batteries on any of its electronical computers. It needs to make sure that the driver is awake, maybe a 5-hour drink or some protein or some caffeine or some water, some hydration. It is a pit stop to help you finish the race. Somebody say, I desperately need Shabbat.
I desperately need Shabbat.
And you can't carry over the actual finish line if you don't have your pit stops, if you don't have your Sabbath, if you don't humanly get your 7 hours of sleep. See, 7 is a number of completion. When you and I make it our business and force ourselves to sleep 7 hours, we can disconnect from the dog-eat-dog world. We can disconnect from the rat race. I'm not a rat. Are you a rat? How we got in that race, I'm not even quite sure. But since I'm not a rat, I think I might want to withdraw from the rat race. So when you rest for the 7 hours every day, your body can realign you. I think that your 7 hours, based on how Yahweh engineered the human being, no matter how we've sort of kind of got sucked into these other ways of doing things, when we rest the 7 hours that Yahweh has suggested, the creator, this is the originator's suggestion. This is the inventor's suggestion. This is the manufacturer's suggestion for best maintenance, that you might literally become your maximum potential in this vehicle you own. If you set this vehicle down for 7 hours each day, your mental stability is better. Your physical stability comes better. Your fluids, your levels of sugar, salt, all the different levels that you have, they begin to balance out. Your brain can now tell you, hey, we need to fix this. When you wake up, you'll feel a certain way. Now you go see your physician. Your physician can say, hey, I'm seeing these things. Your neurology, your electricity, y'all don't realize it, but you have electricity running through you. You are an electrical, you are a battery, you are an electrical source. It is proven a human being, if the energy could properly be extracted from you, you could light up, you could light up the biggest city in your metropolis area for 14 days. All the houses, all the companies, all the street lights, your energy in your body can light up that metropolis, major city in your region for 14 days. That's how much energy is in you. That's the creator's design. He's telling you that if you rest for 7 hours every day, you will maximize the potential of your physicality. Of course, you got to eat right, you got to live right, stay out of, but the concept, the suggestion is you rest for 7 hours in a day, you maximize your potential. You don't have brain fog. You eliminate brain fog. You eliminate the stress that makes you want to pull out your hair. You become, again, somewhat a better mental stability. You become more fluid in your body, your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, your cartilage, your iris, your aperture, your elements of your body become what they need to be in order for you to function in society in a maximum capacity. So just as true as that is for you to get 7 hours of sleep every day, Yahweh also, watch this, he has you to rest with him spiritually every 7th day. 7 is a number of completion. 7 is the number of completion. And you got to realize this because it's extremely important. When Yahweh says he's completed something in you, he's my righteousness, I stand complete in him. When you and I rest on the 7th day his way, he then fixes your discernment. All the energy you extended, all the I'm exhausted, this whole thing of being exasperated, this whole thing of being drained and dried out and just all of that. It when you get to that point where you can just sleep all day, you're exasperated, you're exhausted. 7th day Sabbath helps to spiritually re-strengthen you. Again, the joy of Yahweh is my strength. Pay attention. This is the day. Everybody say Sabbath. Come on, real quick, say it. Sabbath.
Sabbath.
This is the day. This is the day. Come on, listen. This is the day that Yahweh has made. This is the day, Sabbath, Yahweh has made. In that day, I will rejoice. Somebody say, and I mean, do it quickly. Don't drag this on and wait 80,000 minutes. So get your fingers next to your microphone now if you're going to be one to participate in this, and say it quickly so we can move back on. But what I want you to say is, in this day, I will be re-strengthened. Ready? 1, 2, 3. In this day, I will be re-strengthened. Because that's what rejoice means. So clearly, we thought it was a cute song, but it was actually an instruction. This is the day I re-strengthen. If that makes sense to you, can I get about 15 people to say wow on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Wow. So the song now, you can't sing it every time you wake up on Monday, or every time you have a church service on Sunday, or every time you have a revival and a convention on Thursday. that's going to start for a whole weekend. You can't say, come on, y'all, this is the day the Lord has made, because it's not. It's the seventh day. You can't say, listen, when I go to the hospital, they're going to just re-strengthen me. No, that's not the organic way. That's an external simulated way. You going to the doctor is not the way Yahweh wants to heal you. He will use that to heal you. It is a great thing. It is a necessary thing. You listen to your physicians. They are there because you didn't listen to your body, which means you didn't go to sleep. I'm going to say it again. I don't think y'all caught that. The physicians are external because you didn't listen to your body. Internal, which means you kept skipping the meeting your body and your brain and the back of the house of your organisms are trying to have with you. And now the doctor's got to get you back in. Do you notice that whenever a human body is at its worst and it needs restoration the most, do you know what the doctors do? Anybody got a clue what the doctors do when they really need you in the best? They need to really get you re-strengthened. Do you know what they usually do to you? What is the one thing they prescribe the most of? Ben, go.
Yes, sleep. Get some sleep.
They prescribe rest. They prescribe a repose from your normal world. Listen, that rest may mean get away from your mom, get away from your dad, limit even your time with your husband or your wife, because these are the people that are really causing you the stress. And right now, thinking about their issues has your body going through all these different contortions and all these other issues you don't even see, but they're looking at numbers. They're looking at your pressure, your blood pressure. They're looking at your sugar. They're looking at your stress levels. They're doing EKGs, your heart irregularities is causing you murmurs. You already got these other issues that came with your body. So the doctor is an external indicator that you are internally off key. On the count of three, I need 15 people to say, wow. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
So you need the physician. That's why Yahweh tells you, you need the physician. Do not disrespect the physician. He sent the physician to help us heal. The issue is the physician's job is to help us to point back. Now, they've made it a whole new genre of specialties that they just get paid off of and churn for patients. And not all of them. I know some very, very awesome physicians who are about your health and nothing else. They don't need you to come back for new prescriptions to the drug lobbyists who are in their office trying to push this next new petroleum-based substance that might deal with high pressure over here, but then give you low libido over there, or whatever it may be, whatever. One thing it heals, and then the other 5 things it breaks down, and then you got to get another medication to fix the 5 things it broke down, and then that introduces 3 more things per 5 things. You get what I'm trying to tell you, right? So I just need y'all to say wow. Just say wow. Just say wow. Just say wow. So when you rest, the purpose of resting is for you to have a meeting with your body. And here's the catch. Your brain does the meeting in spite of your intellect. Your intellect is trapped in your brain. Your intellect is not your brain. Your intellect is compartmentalized in the mass of your brain. I'm going to need a big wow on that one.
Wow.
So your brain has to regulate your intellect. Otherwise, it'll mess up the divine connection between the divinity and the external understanding of knowledge of good and evil. Your intellect is right now overrun because of Adam's choice to actually eat of the knowledge of good and evil, and it now just overran your intellect compartment and it runs it. But your brain has to regulate that so that you don't overdose on intellect thinking you know every damnable thing and nobody can teach you anything. And your brain, when you shut down and you go to sleep and you have a meeting with your body for 7 hours, it can complete the data you brought in. The data you brought in from your intellect, from your knowledge of this world, it can now regulate that and help to shuffle that into the plans of Yahweh's divine commands. Your brain needs rest. The biggest thing the physicians prescribe to you, whether you got COVID, whether you got lupus, whether you got high blood pressure, whether you got sugar, diabetes, whether you got sugar and diabetes, whether you have all these different types of things, whenever you are at a point where you just need to be carried about, they tell you you must rest. And then if you're not capable of resting, they will put you in ICU, where they restrict by the law how many people can come see you. Did y'all know that the only way you can heal is to rest? So those of us who are running around here needing miracles from God, you don't need a miracle from Elohim if you stay with his maintenance plan. Because the thing in the miracle is a reset. A reset is a derivative of rest. I'm going to say it again. The miracle requires a reset because you're so far gone, you can't pull yourself out with simple rest. You need Yahweh to pick you up, Shekinah glory style, and reset you. And then say, all right, I'm going to forgive all this other foolishness you did. Now let's get you going. So pay attention. Here are the things I need to prescribe to you. You need to make sure you're resting, hydrating, eating this, pushing that, thinking this. And then that's the miracle. It reset you. Somebody say a miracle resets. Say it.
A miracle reset. A miracle reset.
But a reset is a derivative of rest. But a reset is a derivative of rest. Look at the word reset. RESET. The E, the extra E between rest and reset, the last E is Elohim shocking your system back to life. That's the reset. But it starts with rest. So when you rest, you get that repose. Most Christians should not be praying for miracles from the altar. Miracles are for those who did not know to rest and had not been resting. Miracles are for the sinners. Miracles should never be for the kingdom. Right. You around here talking about, I need to see signs and wonders following me, and miracles and signs and wonders. The reason there are miracles and signs and wonders that follow you is because your maintenancing of your body has your system in such a place where your aura of the kingdom is so prevalent in scent, in touch, in sound, in feel, that anybody not having that alignment with their system, like you are in line with yours, they can be like you would do a car. You become jumper cables. You reset their cells to receive energy so they can get their battery changed. Your miracle working power is not for the unbeliever. It's not for the believer. It's for the unbeliever, because they have no way out. You're what resets them. You're the element, the agent. You are the mechanism Yahweh's power uses to pick that person up, pick them up out the mud, place their feet out of the muck, out of the mire, and place their feet on a solid rock to stay. That's a reset. Do y'all get that? That's resetting of a life, because they sunk into muck, they sunk into mire, they sunk into quicksand, they sunk into mud. When you come along, because you are rested in him, you are maintenanced in him, you don't need a miracle, but you are able, by the mere presence of you, to create miracle style power for a person to latch on to your arm, to your dinghy, your rope, and you can pull them up out of the mud they're in by the word and instruction of the word. And then you place them on the word and say, this is how I got reset. Here's how you get reset. Now rest here until you're totally restored. Miracles are not for the kingdom. The kingdom produces miracle for those not in it. And that's what makes them want to come into kingdom. You don't go around church doing miracles for people in church. You scold people in church who don't have this maintenancing program in their life. So the church not keeping Sabbath is putting itself in a place where it needs miracles. And the kingdom of Elohim doesn't need miracles because it follows the maintenancing plan. You need a miracle to get you out of dire straits. You're in dire straits because you have not followed the instructions of righteousness. Seek ye first the kingdom of righteousness, all of his righteousness, and all these things are added to you. You don't need a miracle. When you're not seeking the kingdom, you're going further and further down into that rabbit hole, further and further away from the king, further and further away into what the prodigal son was into, a land that was technically doing what they say is a curse in his homeland. So when you and I are going away from rest, we need to be reset. The longer you stay away from resting, the more you got to add another need of Elohim. So if you go and you keep extending your rest periods, I'll get rest later, I'll get rest later. Sooner or later, the RES is going to have Elohim interject before the T, because it's going to need Elohim to transition you back to rest. Reset.
Amen. That was good.
Awesome.
Amen.
So when we don't take the opportunity to rest in the seventh day, if we don't take the opportunity to rest in our regular days, you're going to see your doctor. Your doctor resets you, or at least gives you the prescription to get you reset. And then there are other dynamics that they got to keep process of eliminating. So the purpose of you going to sleep every day for 7 hours is so that your body, which knows you, can fix itself. The reason you come to Sabbath keeping and not Sunday morning service is so that the creator of your body, who knows you better than your pastor, than your bishop, than your apostle, than your fivefold ministry favorite person, he can fix your body and help you regulate all your relationships within the fivefold ministry. This thing goes deep. So when we don't keep Shabbat all these years, we've been around here churching, doing all that we do, we've been missing his kingdom. We've been missing his way of keeping us from needing miracles. And we're bragging about, God, when I walk, miracles follow me. Miracles for who? See, here's the proof of a real miracle. When I walk around Sinners, when I'm playing basketball in these communities that I play ball in, you because most of y'all can't come down there where I go play ball. You ain't gonna make it. The miracle is they get to see another person just like them with the same mentality that they've experienced and lived through, and yet not stressed out like they are. Not playing basketball with a gun strapped to their hip or 2 knives in their socks because they got to be looking over their shoulder, because if they decide to rest and try to get some recreation, they can still be sniped and killed. So these boys, these men, these women, the miracle is that they can sense, you don't have that same kind of pressure on you, man. How can I be like that? That's a miracle, because now you're resetting that person. Hey, just by being around me, their aura changes. The aura changes them. Reset. Hey, won't you come and rest? This is what you can do. Here's the prescription. Now they got to choose it. They got to do it. Choose ye this day who you're going to serve. But at the end of the day, that's miraculous power. And if they should take it and then they come out and they're no longer in that world, they no longer got to carry their guns just for GP. They no longer got to carry their knives just for GP. They can go out and play basketball, because all the things that used to make that a reality of security for them has been removed, because they no longer operate like that. They are resting in him, not repping in the world. I'm going to say it again. When you start resting in him, you're no longer repping the world, and the rep of the world can get you literally in a bad condition. Rest for your soul, or you can rep the world. I'm choosing the rest for my soul. That transition from repping the world to resting for your soul is the miracle. Because once you rest, your body heals itself. You are already in a self-contained, self-stabilizing system. You've just not engaged the pilot. You've just not engaged the CPU. Most cases, every day you don't sleep. And more importantly, when you don't rest on Sabbath, you do not engage the creator for your destiny. So there's a difference in how we operate in these things. Are y'all learning anything?
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So as I sit today and I'm just contemplating, all right, I make mistakes. I do. I make mistakes. Sometimes known, sometimes not known. Sometimes, it is what it is. But you're like, hey, Yahweh, my bad. Let me talk to you. Like, hey, you are the strength of my life. You move all my pain, all my misery, all my strife. I surrender. I surrender all. Y'all know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I just come out with my hands up, Father. Here I am. I'm what I am. You made me. And sometimes, when you stop trying to do so much for everybody, Yahweh can keep you in a capacity, in a function of your life that by you living your life, you can better serve people around you. Let me say it again. When you are not trying to serve people, and when you are trying to do what his word says for your life, you serve people better. Let me say it again. When you are not trying to serve people, not trying to show people you so deep, not trying to preach to everybody, not trying to show them what you know about God, but instead, when you make it your business from your rest session, leaving your rest session to do the prescription you got at your doctor's appointment, at your Yahweh appointment, at your brain appointment, when you leave with that prescription going into your 6 days and you work to fulfill that prescription that you got, then people will see you and the results of your good work. That will glorify the Father. And then they will ask you, hey, what's that all about? You will then be better able to give them a reason to follow the Father. Can y'all say, that's a miracle?
That's a miracle. That's a miracle.
Y'all got caught up in Elijah laying on top of a boy who was infirmed and putting your mouth on his mouth, your palms on his palm, your belly on his belly, your toes on his toes to resurrect him back to dead. You're worried about trying to put spit in some clay and smear it on somebody's eyes. You're not Adonai. You barely made a mud pie right when you was a baby. Shoot. My mud pies was dry one day and slimy the next. So I didn't do mud. I came up in an era where we had to play with our imaginary friends and we had to make games up. We didn't have Monopoly then for the little people. We had to go outside and get a bucket and a little shovel and play in the sandbox. And we made mud pies. We had to play house and we played all these other games we made up from real life. So we baked little mud pies, little mud cakes. And yes, as children, as ignorant as we were, we ate them, If you knew then what you know now, you'd realize how childish, but that is maturation. So when you understand that my life lived under this prescription better evangelizes the world than my advertisements for a program I'm going to have. Me showing you how to come out of a dope boy's life instead of sitting you down trying to give you my pre-made template, because each dope boy is different, each dope girl is different, each bottom chick is different, you know, each pimp is different, each prostitute is different, each liar is different, yeah, each thief is different. Sin is sin, but there's layers to it, and you just can't give one simple template and say this is going to deliver everybody. I can give you one book that has every template ever made in it. That will help everybody. But I can't just sit down and just try to get paid, because I can do a TED talk, or I can do a YouTube, or I can do a vlog or a blog. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so when you understand this, you now know that you're uniquely different. You can't be walking around here crying, I am, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and yet generalize your life and your situation to being something I can write down. And somebody said, you know what, you should write that down and people will be blessed by it. Yeah, people will be blessed by it. But let me tell y'all something. Can I give y'all a piece of advice that I think will really set everybody's life on a different plane? May I?
Please do. Yes. Sure.
Be very careful of the compliment arena that says you should make that a book. You should write that down. You should, but be very careful how you approach it, because you can easily, with the information that's good for some people, miss the fact that that's just going to serve the God of Mammon in your life. I kept asking Yahweh why I didn't write, why the books I have haven't been written, why all this stuff inside of my head. Y'all know I'm crammed up in here with like information, right? And I'm like, Yahweh, why won't you let me just spit it out and put it in books? And he, this Sabbath, he revealed to me, because it'll only affect a few people. I'm like, what? Yeah, you'll get caught up on tours impacting those specific people, but I've called you to the nations where all of those specificities sit. I'm like, what? That's why you can't write your books. I'm like, that don't make sense, Yahweh. It don't make sense to none of y'all, do it? It's just like, what are you talking about? And then he hit me at 4 a.m. this morning. And he says, you got to consider the kingdom is like, in your world, a vending machine. A good vending machine has everything you're going to need inside of it. You choose which of the items you need that particular time. I went to a very high-class provider, and this organization who provides these commodities, I can't say their name, in their employee lounge had in their vending machine, and I think because I saw this, he used this to catch my attention, they had snacks in this vending machine, in this vending, it's huge vending, beautiful vending process. It had snacks, almost like a menu you see in a restaurant. It had basically snacks, or what we call hors d'oeuvres, appetizers. And it had technically the equivalent of an entree. It had drink. Watch this. It had utensil. It had toothpicks. You selected from this machine which of them you needed. So he's telling me you have to be the vending machine, not the appetizer, not the entree, not the drink, not the utensil, not the after fact, the toothpick. You have to be all of this, and they come to the vend. You can't get caught touring about the entree.
Wow. Wow.
Brilliant, Apostle.
Do y'all understand?
So powerful.
Do y'all understand that? And
Yes, sir.
and under
Yes, I understand it.
and under Darash Kingdom Ministries, you're sought out. So they come to this area as employees of this company. The company has them covered. If they didn't bring their own pail or they didn't want to order out, you have appetizers to choose from. You have entrees to choose from. You have beverages to choose from. You have utensils. You have napkins. You have then toothpicks and mints. You have desserts. You have to be the machine. They have to choose. They got to choose what's in that, i.e. Yahshua in the Tanakh. Choose ye this day who you're going to serve. I'm going to present all of them to you. You got to choose what in there you need most. Sometimes you feel like an almond joy. Sometimes you feel like a
Nuts.
this is my song. Can I finish my song? Can y'all mind y'all business for just a minute? Sometimes you feel, like an almond joy, right? And then sometimes you feel like a Philly cheesesteak. Sometimes you feel like Breyer's vanilla bean ice cream. Sometimes you feel like a V8. Sometimes you just need to pick your teeth. Sometimes you just need a napkin. See, if I'm going to be traveling the world just talking about napkins, that's just one aspect of helping someone keep face. They got teeth, they got broccoli in the middle of their teeth. I got to have the ability to give them the toothpick as well and the flossing mechanism. They have everything in this machine that covers everything in that genre. And if I'm focused on just one of the items, and I'm touring on the world and just one of the items, and I'm still holding some of this information inside of me, that machine leaves because people just want entrees. And you're always like, no, I ask you to be still and I'll draw them to you. Because people only come when something's advertised. They're hoping for stuff, and you can't help people in their hope. He's their hope. You can only show them what hope looks like and is derived from. So when you try to push people into this, you need this, they're not going to value that. One, the numbers of that, the reality of that is that they're not going to value that the way you think. Sabbath helps you to sit down and realize the work in ministry that we do, that I do, that you do, is not going to be based on what someone else says, hey, this is marketable right now. This is where you need to be right now. When you keep Shabbat, it helps you to focus through introspection and through not seeking your own entertainment, not speaking your own words, not doing your own thing. It helps you understand the Creator's intention for the human in his earth he made. It helps your body to understand why the sugar levels, why the salt levels, why the kidneys, why the liver has to rest, so that signals and electricity can get through and blood can push through and all these different things. You can help yourself with the potential of aneurysms, the potential of hypertension, the potential of diabetes, just by resting right. Because when you're not rested right that you just start doing things ad hocishly. You just start adding things to your diet to do something to keep you functioning. I realized that I was battling with some acid reflux that had been gone for years for me. And I realized that my schedule was so tight and so strong that I love coffee, but I stopped doing coffee many years ago. Can I share a testimony with y'all that might help you? This is Shabbat related. I promise you I'll make it connect to the writ. I need permission though.
Yes.
So years ago, because of my drug abuse and everything that I was doing in my body and all that I had been doing, I came through life eating wrong, whatever, and acid reflux was a big thing. Many of you deal with it. Yahweh be praised. I got on a point. I saw some movie, Half Sick and Almost Dead, and it brought and quickened me. And then I went to the writ and I saw the dietary law, and I just began to obey the word. And I began to drink water, particular type of water, alkaline, and try to get my body into what we thought was an alkaline state. Sometimes you can have good information and not use it right. And I think I did. So I also was trying to keep my body trim. So I found information with Dr. Bing and Dr. Google. That's why my physicians get mad at me. And I now get it. They get mad at people who come into their doctor's office talking about, well, I searched this. I was like, well, you need to stay over there, because what I'm about to tell you, you're going to probably kick out and you're wasting my time and yours. So you want Dr. Google, go stay with Dr. Google, because you came to Dr. Me. I do this. Google gets information from wherever. And now with AI, you don't know what you get in information, but this is what I do. I look at anatomy. I look at muscle tissue. I look at tendons. I look at levels. I look at blood. I'm looking at the molecules. I'm looking at everything. I got journalized information from people who do what I do. They don't just type in what about cholesterol and get a buffet of things, both myth, conspiracy theory, and some may have shreds of journals. But, so at the end of the day, I took information about coffee that said coffee helps you retain weight. So I stopped drinking coffee, something I love, and then coffee also left your teeth yellow, right? Now we got all these things, peroxide and ways to get your teeth clean. This is still Torah, y'all, I promise you. So as I'm going, and on all these years, so I stopped coffee, didn't help with the weight gain. I still got fat. But that's why I stopped drinking coffee. And then I'm drinking a certain type of water, thinking alkalining your body is the best way. The alkalinity factor is a very important component, but we do things as we do in Christendom way too much. So I then realized years, like a decade later, that what I thought I knew about medicine, following Dr. Google and some people who claimed on YouTube to be MDs with degrees, but they're focusing on one item in the vending machine and they're touring the world on that one item. And I'm using that as gospel. But there are other elements to how these particular things they're specializing in affects you as a person as a whole. So then I'm realizing that, okay, coffee doesn't keep you from keep you fat. That's the way your lifestyle is. The point to this is I had thought acid reflux was gone for me. And I'm like, Yahweh be praised. And it did. I know what to do to get back to that. I don't have it like crazy. Don't get me twisted. I'm not tripping. It's just I noticed that I had a bout. And then I had a physician tell me, you do know that your coffee intake. I was like, yeah, my coffee intake has kicked back up since I found that it don't make you fat. It's you need moderation and everything, right? And I love coffee. And I may have 12 cups of coffee in a day. And I'm deep with coffee. So I'm doing double, triple espressos. I got my little bouginess about me. I mix them up, get some good taste in them, some hazelnut and some cinnamon. I be doing it, boy. I be whipping it up. I latte it. I make a cappadocia in it, all that other stuff, mocha, I the coffee king. Hey, shabba-labba-labba. So anyway, I'm doing all of this with coffee. And then suddenly I had information from a renowned entity in this particular arena. And they say, if you're experiencing that again, noticing that your coffee intake has taken up, he tells me. So I'm like, well, what you mean, bro? He's like, well, your coffee intake is high again. So you do know that coffee generates acidity. So just because you like something don't mean you should do it that way. And I'm realizing all that time I was taking advice from what I thought was good information, and misusing it. And that's the same way we are in this world. So because I'm now taking coffee in because I need to keep moving. I'm resting on Sabbath, y'all. I'm resting on Sabbath, right? I'm resting on Sabbath, but I'm not resting during the course of the week. I'm telling myself a lie, thinking that, okay, well, I rest on Sabbath, all day Sabbath. I shut down, I rest. That's my 24 hours of rest. God says, work shall be done. But even in those 6 days, you're still supposed to rest those 7 hours.
That's true.
And I'm saying to people, well, when you rest, Apostle, I rest on the Sabbath. Mind your business. And at the end of the day, Yahweh still wants you to rest in those 7 hours of that 24-hour day. So that your body can adjust. But because I'm doing things my way and moving with respects to that, and so I'm putting myself in a position to, because the coffee, it affects the acid production in your stomach. I'm trying to stay awake until I get to Sabbath, do everything I can do in 6 days using coffee to accomplish that, not realizing now my acid reflux is coming back because the coffee affects the acid production in my stomach. And now I wonder why I got acid reflux. Talking about God heal me. He's like, boy, if you sit your butt down and rest for 7 hours, like I asked you every 6 days, and then come to me on the 7th day, you won't have Mr. Acid Reflux knocking at your door, burning holes through your nose. I know some of y'all don't want to talk about that right now, but that's a real thing. And so Yahweh lets me know through simple things like coffee, though I love it and its taste, I can't use coffee to keep me working 6 days because I'm going to wait to the 7th day to rest. Yahweh puts rest in every single day of your life, 7 days of resting. And then the 7th day of rest makes one a healthy, happy Jack or Jill. So today, does that help anybody? Is that aiding anybody's?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
Can I really mess y'all up with something? You remember in Psalms, and because I'm really gonna let y'all get into your own time of Shabbat. I got a lot of thoughts that are happening with me right now. I need to search out a lot of the writ to find some things today. I need y'all to commit until Shabbat, until Shavuot. I want to see if you guys will really try this. Can we put all these challenges out in the world. Try this challenge until the 25th. I want everybody, and let's just make it a 3-week, 21-day effort that and it's going to be hard at first for the first couple of days. First 5 days is going to be rough. I want to put a challenge out. Per Torah instructions, rest the 7 hours of a day. Meaning, when you go to sleep, you disconnect from the world, right?
Correct.
You do.
Yes.
You do, until your world comes knocking on your door. Mommy, mommy, mom, dad, daddy, dad, babe, honey, babe, honey, babe, honey. Did you know, babe? Disconnect from the world for those 5 to 7 hours, 5 to 8 hours. Find a median between 5 and 8 hours and go to sleep 6 days. Right? Every 7 days, but every day go to sleep for 5 to 8 hours, get into REM, let your back of the house take over your body like Yahweh instructed. Then keep Sabbath. Now watch this. Here is where the challenge becomes interesting. Can someone find me Psalms 1, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Psalms 1. Find me Psalms 1. I need a reader for Psalms 1. Can somebody do it for me? I heard Veronica first. Thank you, Lindo. I think I heard your name. Lindo, thank you for offering. But I heard Veronica first. Veronica, find me Psalms 1.
I'm there.
You're there? Now, I'm going to help the rest of those viewing by doing this. And I want y'all to read this. I want y'all to read it while she's reading it. I want to share this with y'all because it's important. Very important. The challenge is going to be, I need a moderator to, we're not trying to serve the world, but we're on, this is a real charge. This is a kingdom charge. This is a Torah charge, because Yahweh has demanded. We screwed it up thinking we knew what he was saying. I want to show you how keeping Torah and understanding his ways is extremely important. Psalms 1. Everybody there? Ready? Okay. I got it on the screen. Would you read for me, Minister Veronica, please? And listen for my voice to stop. Go.
Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his law does he meditate day and night.
Stop. Can you read that verse one more time? But his, verse 2.
But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh.
Okay, so watch this. So verse 1 tells you that he's talking about Sabbath. How do we know that? Because Sabbath is where you get all the instructions of his righteousness. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. You're not with the ungodly in Sabbath. You're not standing in the ways of sinners in Sabbath. You're not sitting in the seat of scornful in the Sabbath. The Sabbath is where all righteousness. The Sabbath is where you are seeking first his righteousness, not ungodly. Verse 2, but his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh. And in the Torah does he meditate day and night. Now, where we took and made the mistake is we believed that day and night meant day and night every day. You must understand that in the Torah, Yahweh gave a very specific instruction. He told you in Ephesians, and I'm going to pull this up on the board for those of you watching me, in Exodus rather, not Ephesians, in Shemot, Exodus chapter number 20. I want to show you the commandment that Yahweh gave and how we messed it up. He says in verse 8. Verse 8. Hope you guys can see it. Verse 8. Look at what it says. Everybody go to Shemot 20 and 8. Look at the instructions. Shemot 20 and 8 says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it Chodesh. Verse 9 says, 6 days shalt you labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahweh, and in that day you do no work, your son, your daughter, your manservant, maidservant, cattle, stranger that's within your gate. For in 6 days Elohim made the heavens and the earth, and then he rested in the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh baruch the Shabbat, and he chodeshed it. So look at what he says. Days 1 through 6, you work. Yahweh worked days 1 through 6. Now his word was working, but where the church made its mistake of thinking that, okay, Psalms 1, would you read verse 2 again for me, please? Psalms 1, verse 2. Would you read Psalms 1, verse 2 for me again?
But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah doth he meditate day and night.
In a generalizing from Christendom and our faith, we thought verse 2 was every day you get up, you should be in his word. Now, this is going to be really shocking to some of you, and then I'm going to leave y'all to go study this by yourselves today. Listen, Yahweh doesn't tell you to read his word every day. Should you? Would it be of help to you? Absolutely. But his commandment is that you work 6 days. And then the 7th day you come and you sit with him. And in that day, Veronica, would you read Psalms 1 again, please? Verse 2.
But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah doth he meditate day and night.
Jan Lindo, would you run quickly to Isaiah chapter 58, verse 13 through 14? Very quickly, please. Lindo, are you still there? Lindo? Lindo is.
Yes, I am. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did we draw you away from something?
No, sir.
All right, cool beans. Can you grab Isaiah 58 for me, please?
Okay.
Verse 13 and 14. Would you read 13 for me, please?
1 second.
Now, you guys hear me talk about these passages every day, every week, multiple times in a week. Some of you are so frustrated. Like one brother told us, said, man, I first met you, you get on my nerves. The same thing all the time. Same thing all the time. Same thing. Got on my nerve. Now I can't live without these words every single week. Watch. Isaiah 58, 13 and 14. Are you there, Lindo? Lindo, I need an answer. Are you there?
I couldn't pull off my, I'm sorry, I couldn't get my phone.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Come off mute.
Okay. All right.
58, 13. Okay.
All right. Could you read 13, please?
Yes, sir. There. Oh my goodness, my iPad just.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, my iPad just.
No, don't apologize. You're fine. We all got technology issues. Trust me. Nobody knows better than I do how technology can get on your nerve, but yet be a blessing. Verse 13, I'll put it on the board for everybody to see it. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, meaning not doing your own pleasure on my holy day, and if you will call the Sabbath a delight, if you'll call the Sabbath holy, if you'll call the Sabbath holy of Yahweh, if you'll call the Sabbath honorable, and if you will honor him, Elohim, by not doing your own way, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words, then shall you be found delighting yourself in Yahweh. And there's a blessing that goes with that in the end of verse 14. Now, back to Psalms 1. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Psalms 1. Verse number 2, but his delight shall be in the Torah. Do y'all see the connection? Lindo, you got 13 still?
Yes.
Good. No, 14. First sentence of 14. I'll need you to read when I call for it. Be on cue. Veronica, you still in Psalms 1?
Yes, sir.
I'll need you to give me verse 2, and then Lindo, you're going to give me 14 first sentence. Ready? Read 14 first sentence, Lindo.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh.
Pause. So when you have not done your own, matter of fact, Lindo, read part B of 13 and then stop at first sentence of 14. Read from honor. Go. Lindo. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay.
You gotta stay with me because I'm losing that flow. All right. So 13, read from honor, please. 13, honor to first sentence of 14, please. Go.
Honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
Pause. So when you're doing all these things, verse 14, read.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh.
Now you're delighting yourself in Yahweh. Veronica, Psalms 1.
But his delight is in the Torah.
All right. So his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh. So verse 1, Veronica, could you read it, please?
Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah.
Oh, so verse 1 of Psalm sort of kind of matches verse 13 of Isaiah 58, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And it also comes down to the next verse. It says, but his delight shall be in the Torah of Yahweh in Psalms 1:2. And in the Torah, does that man meditate day and night? Well, what day and what night? So to the rest of us, Yahweh was not telling us to read the Bible all day, days 1 through 6. He's telling us to read the Torah all day in the 7th day. Because you got to work the other 6 days. So you're jipping your own prosperity, your own health, though you should have a good recall of what you've gathered in day 7 to be dispensed in your mind throughout day 6, which can guide you. Ruach will bring it back to your remembrance, but you need to be, like we're understanding now, in Torah observancy and study of his writ all day on the 7th day. Not at nobody's funeral, not at nobody's wedding, not at the children's soccer day, not at the graduation. You need to be in his word on the 7th day. Then days 1 through 6, his word will guide you, strengthen you, point you out, give you discernment in the days you have to work. It will come back to you. You don't have to go and cheat with your boss and open up the pantry closet and the janitor's closet and go in there and read your Bible in the dark with a little flashlight and your phone light, because you sneak in time to read on your job. Work 6 days. When you get home, read the word, go to bed with it. Let those 7 hours give your back of the house brain the white noise and or the music it needs, that while you're sleeping, i.e. the word, the music is the word, the music your brain needs while your intellect is sleeping, while your body and your motor skills are sleeping, to let your brain and every other neurological issue begin to happen while you're sleeping, to bring your body into alignment with what you need to do when you get up so you can do your work. Your body heals itself. You need physicians now because we're so far gone. We need things that reset us. And then there's a process of living a certain type of lifestyle and diet and hydration and prescription to get us to that point where we are going to be clear, good, and able to do what we got to do. I don't care what it is we do. So at the end of the day, everything that we're looking towards and everything that we're looking at happens and functions from the word of Elohim. So the challenge is rest for 7 hours, 5 to 8 hours for the next 21 days. And then keep the Shabbat all day on the Sabbath. I mean it. Go into your schedule now and recalculate your Sabbath. Go into your schedule now and make sure, I don't care if you sleep in the morning or at night or whenever, but sleep 5 to 8 hours. Let your body do what it does. I mean, get the little blinders for your eyes, pull the sunblock, drapes, whatever you need to do to get yourself in that state, and just have the word playing in the background and go to sleep for 5 to 8 hours. If you get to 7, you're perfect. And just sleep for 6 days of a week. Let's do that for 3 weeks. And let's see how we feel when we're done. Not just feel, but what we've amassed. Not just what we've amassed, but where we are. Anybody willing to accept that challenge?
I am.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I hear some of us saying, Doc, I'm doing so much, Apostle. I can't. Yes, you can. You choose not to. And there's nothing you can do. Can I give a prophetic word that just came out? I just got this prophetic sound to just kick it in my ear. Listen, except Yahweh build the house, they that labor in vain. Somebody just fell off their chair. Somebody just fell off your chair. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Get up, get back in the chair. You can't fall off now. Get up, back up in the chair. You're like, oh my goodness, yes, you just fell off your chair because you've been trying to build a house. Stop trying to build a house. Let Yahweh do it. You can't do it unless you are in the premium capacity that Yahweh made your body to be in. That requires you 6 days working as he's told you, resting as he's prescribed, and then laboring in those 6 days to get into Sabbath. Hebrews chapter 4. Let us therefore labor to enter into that Sabbath day rest, where the word of Elohim is all you're going to be reading, right? Because you're not talking your own words. The word of Elohim will be piercing. It's sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing, even dividing of soul from spirit. It will disconnect every soul tie. It will disconnect every spirit. Oh, y'all hearing this? It will disconnect every proclivity and propensity and its tendencies to get your attention. It will help to sever those ties so you have a longer period of time of focusing on the word before you give in to that which you know has always caused you issues. It is dividing from soul and every spirit trying to attach to you. It is also showing you physically, it will divide marrow from joint. If you're not a physician and you don't know the anatomy of the body and the skeletal structure and how the composite of the joints are to the bone composites and the marrow deposits, you won't know how sharp that sword is. And leave the marrow where the marrow is and leave the joint where the joint is and never touch one or the other and mix them. Then he says it will divide soul from spirit, joint from marrow, and watch this, it will give you discernment. The word of God does that. When do you get your dosage of that? Every Shabbat. So the brain blow I wanted to deliver with this information is that Yahweh doesn't tell you to be in prayer in the fourth watch of the night on your days 1 through 6. Church told us that. No wonder you sitting there rocking and moaning, waiting for the deliverance of the power of the Holy Ghost. See, in the Sabbath, the moment you start Sabbath in his word, he's already there. You ain't got to get geared up and set atmosphere. You're in the atmosphere. You just walk through the door. He's there. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. I'll give you rest. The moment you walk in the door of Shabbat, the moment you walk in with your word and your mind to delight in him is the moment you're in his presence. That is a direct hit from second one. All that day, those 24 hours, Yahweh wants you with him. And when his presence of Yahweh Shalom in the Shabbat lifts, he leaves you to wake up. Now, when you wake up, your intellect can function and all that you thought you knew will now be regulated into the destiny and purpose for you. I'm learning that every day. Some days I'm real good with it. Some days I'm still trying to be me, but I'm realizing I need to get out of my own way. I need to go to bed. I need to get sleep. I need to rest for those 7 hours of every day so that my brain can bring all that knowledge I collect into a place that Ruach HaKodesh can use it as a cache of tools. Can I get y'all to I just need 8 people. The number of new beginnings. I need 8 people to come off mic in 3 seconds and tell me what Christendom and what we do in Christendom. We just do way too much. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We do.
Way too much.
And we think all we do for the church, we're doing for the kingdom. The kingdom don't need you to build it. The kingdom is already built. It needs you to live in it. It ain't my job or your job to drag people in kicking and screaming into the church to tell them, hold them down, get their arms held down. Oh, they running. Oh, that's a spirit trying to come out of them. Just hold them down right there. Everybody put your hands on them. Hold their head still. Yeah, they coughing, they look, they bite. Yeah, that's the devil. That's the spirit in them. That ain't how you deliver them. Dragging them in off the street and putting them at your makeshift altar and spilling oil on them and making them drink oil and holy water and that ain't how you deliver them. The kingdom is already built. Yeah, we don't need you and me going out grabbing people, dragging people in. You're being watched more than you know. Live and let live. People will see your good works. They will glorify. The works you do will glorify our Father in heaven. And you will thereby have let your light so shine. And people will follow that light. and then they'll ignite on your light, and others will follow their light. And there you have the kingdom expanding. And you didn't have to hold anybody down. You didn't have to get no lawsuits drawn up on you. People will follow you if your works and your word and your life, even in error, even in whatever, are showing them how to work the truth that made you free. I want you guys to take that challenge. I really do. I want us to keep that challenge. It's just 3 weeks, 21 days, starting tomorrow, day one, starting at the end of Shabbat today. I want us to go 21 days. It will encompass Shabbat, but 21 days starting at wherever you are in the world. South Africa, if you're already out of Shabbat, start today. Uganda, Ghana, UK, if you're out, Vietnam, if you're out, start in the day one. You're in day one. We who are in the continental US of A, I think the islands of the Caribbean are still in Shabbat. We got hours to go. But coming out of day 7, going into day 1, let us make that challenge that for the next 3 Sabbaths, we are going to make it our point to fight our children, fight our spouses, fight our jobs, fight our clients, to sleep in the days we're supposed to work 5 to 7 hours. Then we're going to fight everybody else to make sure we're in Sabbath 100%, all 24 hours belong to Yahweh. And let's see how we look. Let's see how we talk. Let's see how our posture is spiritually. Let's see and say the song. Look what Yah has done. Mastermind is he. The way the thing begins is how it's going to end, you know? Look what Yah has done. Omnipotent is he. Listen, though. He put the moon and stars into space. He created the whole human race. Look what Yah has done. Oh. Watch this. Mastermind is he. I'm going to take the challenge. I've already started it, actually, but I'm never going to have you do something I'm not a part of. And you don't have to do this, y'all. There's no mandate on this. It's a thing. We take so many challenges. We were pouring ice cold buckets of water on our heads for Carl's is in charges. We were walking up on crates that were unstable, trying to prove a point. How about we take on this challenge? 21-day challenge. We're going to call it the 21-day rest challenge. I don't care who it is, whoever helps us with these things, Gregory, Wanda, Gina, whoever you guys are to do whatever you do, C. Marie, whoever you are, you can help get me some memes. We can have them posted every day, different ones. Help me put the 21 days starting at day 1 after Shabbat today, and 21 day it out. And we'll come back here on Shabbat. And those 3 Sabbaths will be ended. We'll also have been in our Shavuot, first fruits. Let's see what Yahweh does. Let's see how the way he made the world and humanity to work, let's see how it plays out. Let's finally do something kingdom and not church. This is not like taking a Daniel's fast. That's Daniel's fast. Got nothing to do with you. This is a command of Yahweh. 6 days shall you work. Man must work while it is day, for night comes, man can't work. Because you're supposed to be asleep. Go to sleep with the word. Fine. If you got a place you can work and have the word playing, but you don't have to be studying the word all day, every day, every day. No, that day of the Shabbat, that's the day you open it day and night. For that person shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters, whose leaves shall not wither. What's that? What's it say? Did I read it wrong? I think I read it wrong. I'm quoting it wrong, aren't I? Psalms 1, verse 3. He says, that man shall be like a tree. Verse 2. Here we go. Watch it. He says, but his delight shall be in the Torah of Yahweh. And in his Torah does he meditate day and night. She shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, whatsoever that person does. Somebody say whatsoever. Can I get y'all to be excited and say whatsoever? Whatsoever that person does shall prosper. You know, it's funny because if you are actually doing what Yahweh wants, you can rest easy. You don't have to be out in the rat race. You don't have to be out in the dog-eat-dog world because you're resting in the fact that I did what Yahweh said. I ain't got to worry about somebody taking my goods. I hope that you guys get that, the significance of it and its power. Listen, I'm excited for you, for those who will take this challenge. And I think it's going to change your life. I did this twice before, and each time it increases my ability to stay in the word. He says, whatever you do will prosper, because if you're resting rightly, your brain's thinking rightly. You're not trying to out here steal customers and clients from other people. You're not stealing people's ideas. You're not, what's that called when you steal sermons? What's that called? Plagiarizing. Yeah, you're not plagiarizing. You're getting organic, original thoughts and revelations from Yahweh himself. And watch this, like Yochanan says, I was in the spirit of the word on the Sabbath day, and Yahweh revealed to me who Yeshua HaMashiach is. Now, some of y'all think, what is he saying? Well, I was in the spirit on the Lord's day. That's what Yochanan said. And that's the day he got the revelation of who Yeshua HaMashiach is. You know it as the book of Revelation. But how did he get the revelation? He was in the word on the Sabbath day. Oh my God. Yeah, I was waiting to give y'all that one late. I figured I'd leave y'all to go and chew on that one before y'all. Y'all covered my crickets with chocolate.
That's good, Apostle.
Who told y'all to cover my crickets with chocolate? I don't know who told y'all to do that, but yeah. That's what he says. I was in the spirit on Yah's day. I was in the spirit of the word on the Sabbath day that Yahweh told me to rest. And that's when I got the revelation of who Yeshua HaMashiach was. You and I call that the book of Revelation. How did he get it? He was in the word on the Sabbath day. Let me ask Veronica, does that correlate with Psalms 1, verse 2?
Yes, indeed.
So Yochanan was delighting in the Torah day and night of the Shabbat.
Yes, sir.
And whatever Yochanan did, he prospered, even though he was exiled to an island called Patmos. So would that also mean that Yochanan, being in the spirit of the word on the seventh day of Yahweh as prescribed, Lindo, would that correlate with Isaiah 58, 13, and 14?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So then he was not doing his own thing on that day. He was not speaking his own words on that day. He turned his foot towards keeping the Shabbat. And then he was found in verse 14 as delighting in Yahweh, and Yahweh fed him on the Isle of Patmos. Yahweh calls him to ride upon the high ground, the high places, while he was exiled on the Isle of Patmos. And you and I know him as one of the greatest prophets ever to give us a reveal of who Yeshua is. I think that it all works together. Oh, one last one. Rest of y'all can help me on this one. Does keeping, as Yochanan says, in the spirit of the word on the seventh day, on the Shabbat day, be it a Moedim of the seventh day, he was then given a revelation. He was then given what he needed to survive of who Yeshua was. And as I give you this last piece, that would correlate with Matthew chapter number 6, verse 33. He was seeking first the kingdom of Elohim and all his righteousness, and everything else was added unto him, even though he was in exile by his own community and civilization. We do way too much.
Way too much.
6 days you work. Rest in those 6 days. And then the 7th day, labor to enter into that day. So you and I can be in his word, do what his word says to do, and understand him in clarity. We'll read one passage and then we're going to go. This is out of the book of Hebrews. And because it's from Hebrews, it is talking about Torah because it's Torah-based individuals. Hebrews chapter number 4. Let us therefore fear. That word fear means to revere. Lest a promise being left to us of entering into his rest. I need y'all to work with me on this one. Come off mics and say, rest is a promise for me. So did y'all know that Sabbath rest is a promise, and the promises of Yahweh are yea and amen? So the rest is a promise for you. This is something that you've been promised. Why would he promise you something that you didn't need? So verse 1, let us therefore fear lest a promise being left us of being able to enter into rest. Why is that important? Because in the rest, Yahweh has stacked it full of blessings for you. So one again, let us therefore fear, reverence this, in the event a promise that has been left for us of entering into his rest, a very dynamic place, that any of you should seem to come short of it. Verse 2, for unto us the gospel was preached, as well as unto them in Moshe's day. But the word that was preached there then did not profit them, because they did not mix it with faith when they heard it. Verse 3, for we, which have believed, well, we do enter into that rest. As he said, as I've sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. What do you mean? Well, Genesis chapter 2 tells you that Yahweh ended his working of 6 days, and then he created, made the 7th day, and in that day he baruched it, he kodeshed it, he hallowed it out and filled it with blessings for us. So the 7th day, the works that we would need, the tools that we would need, they've all been put inside of since the foundation of our world into the 7th day. The day of rest, the promise that if we enter in, we come out restored, refreshed, re-equipped, and ready to move on with any changes of the world. Verse 4 says, for he spake in a certain place about the 7th day. He spake about the 7th day in such a way, and Elohim did rest on the 7th day from all of his works. Verse 5, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing therefore it remains. Somebody say the 7th day remains. Say it. The 7th day remains. So the 7th day remains. That would mean that the promise remains. That means that we can keep tapping into this promise just like he always intended since the foundation of the world. And in verse 5, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Verse 6, seeing therefore it remains that some must enter therein. Somebody say, that's me. Not enough of y'all saying it. Come on, y'all need y'all all to say this. This is deep. On the count of three. 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 Say it's me. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Say it. Seeing therefore it remains that some, me, must enter in. And they to whom it was first preached, they didn't enter in because they didn't believe. I need y'all on the count of three. Say, I believe. 1, 2, 3. 7 says, again, Yahweh limiteth the certain day. He limiteth the 7th day. What does the word limiteth mean? In the Greek, it is the word G3724. Look at the right of your screen. It means harizo. It means to mark out that day. It means to make it a boundary. It is a horizon. Look at the remaining definitions, i.e., figuratively to a point. That means that in verse 7, he again appointed and decreed and specified and declared and has determined and has ordained in that day certain things. So verse 7 says, he limiteth a certain day. He horizo a certain day, saying in David, today, the Sabbath day, the seventh day, after so long a time, as it's been said, today, the Sabbath day, if you will hear his voice. How do you hear his voice in the Sabbath day? Oh, Isaiah told you, you must read his word and not your own in the seventh day. Psalms, Moshe told you in the seventh day, you are to read his Torah day and night. Oh, and Deuteronomy told you, oh, if you will hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh, not only to observe it, but to do what his voice says. So David was an example. So look at Hebrews 4:7 again. Again, in the certain day, he horizo, saying and reminding us through the words of David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, the Shabbat, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yeshua, so y'all don't get it twisted and thinking that Jesus gave you what you're looking for, Jesus didn't give you anything but access. You still got to obey and go in yourself. How dare you say that, Mr. Apostle Man? Verse 8, for if Yeshua gave them rest, then he would not have afterwards spoken of another day. Remember Acts chapter 1? He told them, do not leave Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father. That was the day we're looking for now, Shavuot. Why? Because that's the day the word was given. That's the way the word is to be celebrated. For if Yeshua had given them rest, so it's not Yeshua that gives you rest. It's not Yeshua that made you. It's the word that makes you. It's the word, the instruction that gives you rest. Verse 8, if Yeshua had given them shalom, if he had given them rest, if he had given them Shabbat, then he would not have afterwards spoken of another day. Verse 9, there remains because of this fact a rest to the people of Elohim. On the count of 3, say, I am the people of Elohim. Go, 1, 2, 3. Trust me on this last one. On 3, I want you to say, I am Israel by faith. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So verse 9 makes this statement and says, there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of Elohim, for he that is entered into Elohim's rest, that person is also ceasing from doing his own works, just like Elohim did. All right. On the count of 3, I want you to repeat after me. On the count of 3, I want you to repeat after me. Listen. On the count of 3, I want you to say these words. Say, be ye Kodesh, for I am Kodesh. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. See, and that's what you've known to say, be ye holy, for I am holy. Here is where that applies. This is what that means. He says in verse 9, there remains a rest for the people of Elohim. He that entered into Elohim's rest, that person also has ceased from his own work, just like Elohim ceased from his. So when Elohim says, be in Sabbath, because I'll be in Sabbath, that's what it means when he says, be ye holy, for I am holy. Thus what I had you repeat, I am Israel by faith. Therefore, I'm going to be Kodesh because he is Kodesh. I'm going to be in Sabbath because he's in Sabbath. He that enters into Elohim's rest is one who has also ceased from that person's own works, just like Elohim did, because I'm made in his image, I'm made in his likeness, and that's how it is. Verse 11, let us therefore labor, because Yahweh wants us to enter into his rest, because he wants us to cease from our works, because he ceased from works. He did work 6 days, but the 7th day he rested. Let us, because of that fact, now enter into that rest. Somebody say that rest. 1, 2, 3. Let us therefore labor. Let us work every day so we enter into the 7th day rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. You know why? Because the word of Elohim, which is what you're going to be speaking during the Sabbath, which is what you're going to be studying during the Sabbath, is quick. The word of Elohim, verse 12, is powerful. The word of Elohim, verse 12, is sharper than any two-edged sword. The word of Elohim, verse 12, says it's piercing even to dividing asunder of the soul from spirits that have attached themselves to you, and from the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts. It is a discerner of the intents of the heart of any man, yourself, and those you encounter should ever engage. Now I can go deeper because verse 13 says, neither is there any creature that is not manifested in the sight of the word, but all things become naked and open unto the eyes of him to whom we have to do. So when you take time to sit down and only study the word in Shabbat, when you sit down and decide to only study the word of Elohim in Shabbat, you see, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. You can see every obstacle in your way. Somebody shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Does this make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So y'all, like me, I'm going to do some personal studies. I'm having some thoughts and things about what Yahweh is doing in my family. I'm really in a great, happy place. I hope that you guys can, honor and respect the place that Yahweh has put you in. And, times change, things change. But for right now, I want to really salivate in what Yahweh has proven to me he would do for my family and my sons, my daughter. Yeah, I got some stuff to talk to Yahweh about. All right. And introspection. Don't let anybody bug you. I don't care. Don't leave the phone. Don't let nobody call the phone. Put it on do not disturb. Ain't nothing gonna happen Yahweh hadn't already scheduled and structured. He just wants you to be with him. Take Psalms 1 and mean it and put it to heart. Take Hebrews 4, verses 1 through 12, 1 through 13, and put it to heart. Take Isaiah 58, 13 through 14, and put it to heart. All right, I'm gonna stop talking because I'll just be like Elder Rogers. I repent for judging Yahweh.
I wasn't bothering you. I did not even mention that joke about the church lights being out because it was past your bedtime when you're talking about rest. So I wasn't bothering you. Now I'm gonna relinquish my mic.
I'm going to say this because it's the Sabbath, and I don't like to lie on the Sabbath. But I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm not going to act like I know what you just said about church lights being out. It was too dark. I'm not going to act like I know. I don't think I want to know. But I want you to know. I want you to know I love you.
That was a joke from your birthday thread.
Yeah, I got to go back and read the thread again, I guess, after Sabbath. So after Sabbath, I'll talk about it tomorrow with you. How about that?
Deal.
Okay, that's them turtles on speed. I thought you said no to the turtles on speed, Elder Rogers. Elder Rogers, there was this thing that they did with toads back in the day when we were back in the day doing PCP and acid and angel dust. I didn't do it, but I watched some people grab some toads and they would lick the back of toads, and there's a hallucinogen that comes out of, and Elder, just tell me you wasn't, excuse me, just tell me, Elder, you wasn't licking the backs of turtles that took speed.
You know what?
Okay, I'm just asking. I was just curious to find out.
Let the Lord talk to you. Leave me alone.
If y'all wasn't here yesterday, you wouldn't get it. But we had a great time. I want to thank you guys for your love and your concern, but I want to make sure we take this challenge seriously. And Elder Rogers, me and her banter back and forth. Y'all know I love that lady. If something happened to her, all the world got to answer to me. But we want to take this challenge seriously. Do we have can y'all flash your mics? I don't know how many people. Let me look at Clubhouse, see what's going on in Clubhouse. I've not looked down here at you guys. Good to see y'all. Oh, there's 80 people in the room. So if you are able to, some of y'all didn't take mics to come up on platform, but I want to see if you guys will take this challenge. Take this 3-week, 21-day Sabbath rest challenge, or what do we call it? What do we label it?
21-day rest.
21-day rest of Elohim challenge. Yes. That means resting properly in days 1 through 6, and then resting on the day 7 to just keep 24 hours of his word. Again, I'll be back and forth on my studies and with you guys on Shabbat and what have you, but just to do it his way. And let's see how much of it we've been doing too much of, and how much of it he's already told us what to do and we need to get right. So by flashing your microphones, would you give me an idea of how many of you are willing to take that challenge for the next 3 weeks, which will incorporate? Okay. All right. All right. Just flash your mics if you want to take the challenge, or give an exclamation emoji. Matter of fact, you know what? That's what we'll do. Do the exclamation emoji. Yeah. Everybody light up your screen with the exclamation. If you're going to do the challenge, let me know. I want to see how many people. Yeah. That's about right. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to take the challenge. My exclamation is up there. All right. Well, we got a remnant of those that are here that will do it. Yahweh only ever really moves in remnants. I'm not sure how many people in our house members that did not get microphones. Oh, there you go, Tammy. I see you down there, Tammy. Okay, even those of you in the lower, VIP places, you can hit the exclamation mark if you're going to do it. All right. Well, those numbers are about right. We usually only get about 50% that will participate, but I'm hoping that more will make the choice. We're going to take this challenge. We're going to be serious about it. So those of you who do take the challenge on the PTRs on Clubhouse, and those of you on Facebook, if you're going to do it, or those of you on YouTube, if you're going to do it, just put in the exclamation marks. Okay, I see them. I see them, exclamation marks. Good. Well, we got a better following on YouTube and Facebook. Good. Okay. Well, Clubhouse maybe they may have us on, but doing something else, and they're not hearing. I found that out. But okay, yes, YouTube and Clubhouse, you guys are standing strong. That's awesome. 21-day rest of Elohim challenge. Accepted. Good job. I hear you, Willie. I hear you, LA. I hear you, UK. I see you in Jamaica. Woo woo. All right. Okay. I see you, South Africa. Beautiful. Uganda. I see you. Good. Okay. Awesome. All right, we're going to keep this challenge, and we're going to be bringing it up every Sabbath. Keep this challenge. I want my PTRs to be to that end, that we are on this 21-day Sabbath. So I need some PTRs presented me in my email for those of you who present and make my graphics. I'd be glad to have that done. Do it after Shabbat, not during Shabbat. And I'm going to let you guys go because my voice is bothering me, and I want to rest some more, see what Yahweh has to say to me about what he's doing. Everybody stay in the word. Don't be deviated. Let nothing deter you from staying in his word today.
Apostle, Jamaican today.
What happened?
Jamaican me rest.
You know what, the Jamaicans gonna get you about messing up their dialect. When they come for you, I can't help you. I love you, but I can't help you. They gonna come for you. Look at them. They smiling at you now, but they like. Look, see, look them. Listen, listen. Let me help you. Listen, I remember when I first started going to Jamaica up into Clarendon. And they were trying to teach me how to say hello to everybody. And, I had my little book, my pocket thing, my translator. And they were like, where you day? And the guy was telling me what to say. He's a true Jamaican. He's from Clarendon, Sink Shop. And so we're over there, and he's telling me, say where you day. I'm saying where you day. I found out he was messing with me. So I'm saying where you day. I'm thinking that's how you say hello, And I'm walking through the marketplace in Christiana, and they, I'm saying, hey, where you there, and they're like looking at me like this arrogant American. Like, oh God, I'm in trouble. So Elder Rogers, I want to save you. I love you. No matter how many turtles that took speed you've licked the backs of, I'm going to help you not let yourself look like I looked that day. Don't say that again. You're making me crazy. Don't say it again. They're being nice. They're being nice to you right now. They're like,
Real nice, real nice. Hey, that was him. That had nothing to do with anybody else.
yeah, but see, when you invite that, when you do it through their culture, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, when someone says something from my culture to another person, I'm like, you messing that up is disrespectful to me while I'm sitting here watching you do this. This ain't a game for me. This is my life. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Cool beans. So we're gonna get going on that.
Like your choice.
I'm sorry, someone interjected and said what?
Like the joy.
Say it one more time. You broke up.
I got it. She was saying New Jersey, but the way she was saying it was not the way we say it.
See, now that's disrespectful. Was she saying New Jersey? Is that what she was saying?
New Jersey, yeah.
You mixing Boston. Listen, you are so bad. That's exactly right. Because you mixing Boston and New York trying to say Jersey. It ain't, it's different.
Hey, I don't hold it against you. I'm from neither one of those places.
You mixing Boston and New York. You know what I mean? Trying to say Jersey. Yeah, no, we ain't doing it.
Hey, it's all in fun.
It is in fun. It's all in great fun. And that's what I love about it. But I heard one person say, listen, you don't play with them Jamaicans. Because the one thing I did get right, and I learned how to be angry and let you know I'm angry. And the guy was telling me, he says, listen, man, you know, when you hear a Jamaican say, all right, man, you sit right there. Me soon come back. They said, don't you be there when they come back. I learned. I learned
Very true. Very true.
If they say, yeah, man, you sit right there, man. Me soon come back. You better get the heck out of Dodge quickly. Okay. Don't be there when they get back. All right. Well, Zion, it's been a joy chatting with you because they carry machetes, like 4 of them. Yeah, I literally saw it with my own eyes. I didn't believe where he hid the other one. That's all I'm gonna say. Father, we thank you for the day, the time, the space, and thank you for teaching us what we need to do to be like and what you need us to be. And in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, grace us your spirit and your peace and your joy. I honor you today. I thank you for these, your people. And we thank you for the challenge we believe you've given us by the understanding of Ruach HaKodesh, that we might see a manifestation of how your presence works with us when we comply with you. Teach now, and we will give you free preeminence. Show now, and we will reveal what only you can give us and show us. We love you today. We honor you today, and we want to honor you in your proper way. We're going to rest every day, and we're going to rest every week. Help us who've taken the challenge. Grace us with the power to complete it. In the mighty and the precious name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we all say and we all pray. Amen. Well, Zion, may Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. Somebody say, I receive that. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we pray and say, Shabbat shalom, everybody. We'll see y'all soon, okay? Love you to life. Shabbat shalom.
Love y'all.
Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change. He stays the same. Won't find a better reason. No. So come tap in. Just listen. And bring a friend. Let's spread this vision. Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change. He stays the same.